Hey, what's going on, guys? Got another knife review for you today. Today I'm going to be talking about the Benchmade 940-2. This is a really awesome knife. You guys have seen it in my EDC, and I did a reveal video of this, as long as like a little fun guessing video, to see if any of you could figure out what it is. So let's just jump right into the review. First, let's do a size comparison real quick. I got Tenacious, and I'll also throw in the Cryo. Okay, so this size of the knife, as you can see, it's a lot thinner than either of these, and a little longer. Here, let me line up the ends a little better for you. There you go. Okay, so this is a really sweet knife, and let's just jump into the review. Okay, so first thing I want to point out is just the overall fit and finish of this knife. This is a really amazing knife, in my opinion. This is right now my favorite knife that I own. It's very hard for me to pick a favorite knife unless just one stands out a lot, and that's this one. Now, if you guys know me, I'm not a budget knife collector, but I don't collect as expensive knives. Of course, this isn't a Sebenza or a Strider or anything like that, but this is a more expensive knife. This is a $200 knife. So, well, actually, it depends where you find it. You can get this for $170 to $200. It's just where you get it. The good sites, you can't do it on Amazon. Just watch out for fakes. Make sure you're ordering it from the right place. But Blade HQ is always a great place. So is Blade Play, place like that. So it's a really sweet knife. The materials, you got G10, and this is very light. It's pretty minimal. You do have steel liners in there. They don't run the full length of the knife. You can see them protruding here, and they run the full length, but just on this interior part right here. They'll run this, down like this. You got the axis lock. This one's really great. You can use 2 fingers on this. Some people will always use 2 fingers. I won't most of the time. I'll just normally do it with 1. Just drop it like that. Of course, in the frame here, it's kind of hard to get it in well, but I can just drop it. It's a very smooth knife. It's very smooth in here. You're running on some washers. You're not running on bearings, but for this type of knife, I think it's totally fine to be washers, because this is the hard use EDC kind of knife. Well, not insanely hard use, but it's an EDC knife. It's a knife you'll carry every day and you'll use. The blade steel on here, you got CPM S30V. This is a great steel. I really love it. I have not been able to test out a ton or really any super steels. Going up into like the M4, things like that. But this is a really great steel. It's a higher end steel. It's nothing like say 440 this is CPM S30V. It's nothing like 440 or especially Aussite. Aussite's softer. It's a more expensive steel than that. It's a higher quality steel. So with that, it's just more honed. I'm not gonna get into the steel and stuff, like the amount of carbon and all that, but it does take an edge forever, pretty much. It will stay sharp for a very long time, and it's not too hard to sharpen. I have sharpened it a little. I'm considering actually redoing this edge just to make it a little more of a slicer, although it is a crazy slicer, just making it so I'd have more of an edge there with my sharpening system. And by the way, tell me if you want to see a review of that sometime. I can do one of my system. So the blade shape, let's say, you got the reverse tanto. This is a really sweet blade shape. Obviously, it's called the reverse tanto. On a traditional tanto, it just jump up like that. On here, it comes back on the back. So it's similar to a clip point, except a very aggressive clip point. And you also have a swedge here cut out of it. Now this is a not sharp part, it's a false edge. But it does taper in the thinnest part right here. But as you can see, the bevel will start there, then go back down. You only have one flat on this blade, and that's right around where the thumb stud is. It does get thicker again around the tanto, so the tanto, it's a crazy tip. I can get you close with that. There you go. it's just crazy. It's a very strong tip. Now, of course, I would definitely recommend using your knives as knives. Don't use it as a screwdriver or prying or anything, but if you were to do that, this tip will hold up really well. Okay, what else? The clip. Let's talk about the clip. Now, it can be positioned both ways, left or right hand. Not tip down, but I think that's totally fine with me. I think tip down will get in the way of the axis lock more, so I think that's totally fine with Benchmade's. On the clip, this is an oxidized black clip. It's not painted on. Painted on. Here, I'll grab out the Cryo real quick. This is the cheaper knife. It's just painted on. Yes, it is your choice. The finish might be a little better. There's one a little more glossy, a little more smooth. But honestly, if you hit this thing against, see, I've done this before. Getting out of my car, you can just like maybe hit it on the door when you're closing the door. Walking through like a crowd of people, you can bump this against people. That wouldn't really do much, but just the clip, if you bump it against things, if you're a knife guy, you know, if you have a knife in your pocket, you'll bump the clip against things, and it will scratch it up pretty bad. And that's why I generally don't want colored clips. I'll definitely just want a stainless clip like this or something. So it won't scuff up too bad. It will scuff, but it will still be all the same color. But with an oxidized clip, it does not come off very easily. You can scratch it, but it will just stay right on. Now, I have scratched this clip some. You can't really notice it very much. It's just, it's all the same color, because it goes, the paint it's just oxidized really well. I think that's definitely a good thing with this kind of knife. What else? The action is great on this thing, super smooth. I have a quick story about this knife in just a minute that I'll get to, so stick around for that. The barrel spacers on this. This is one of my favorite parts about this knife. Get you close up. Well, it's not going to focus, is it? Well, I guess not. Well, anyway, these barrel spacers, they're just aluminum. I believe they're not painted on. I believe they are anodized, but it is anodized aluminum. They're kind of this green, lime green, zombie green, whatever you want to call it. It's that on the back, and it just gives this knife that's more bland some color. Now, comparing this knife to the other 940s, I do not have any other 940s. If I did, they would go here. Someday I might add them to my collection. But there's the traditional 940, the 940 Osborne. Of course, they're all Osborne designs. Just close up real quick. They're all Osborne designs, but it is titled the 940 Osborne with the other ones. The differences with them, yes, the handle shape is a little different. You won't have this V. The blade, I think, it might be a little thicker this way. It might have a little thicker bevel. It's the same design. It is much heavier. It's aluminum handles. Also, the back spacer, well, it's not a flow-through design. So you'll have a back spacer that runs this knife. And I was not really down for that. It's roughly the same price as this knife. I just wanted a lighter knife, and I like G10 a lot. Then you have the 940-2, which is probably, it's hard to tell if I would like this one or 940-2 better. The 940-2 has carbon fibers handles, a little bit better of an upgrade of steel. While I was talking about these, that's what made me remember. They're anodized blue on the carbon fiber one. Looks pretty sweet. This is the blue class Benchmade, which is the best ranking for a Benchmade that has not been customized. They have this whole customizing thing to their website. It's pretty cool, but be careful if you do it. You can spend a lot of money on that. It just stacks up real quick. But without gold class, which is the custom, blue class is the highest. This is the blue class Benchmade. It's just an amazing knife. The axis lock's super smooth. You can also open it with the axis lock. Just a little bit. The lockup is really firm. Absolutely no play. And I'm going to jump into that with my fun little story. I'm going to close. No rattling, nothing like that. Blade centering is right on. Well, if I didn't move the camera. Can focus? Okay. Blade centering is right on. Here you can see. Yeah, it was a really great knife. Of course, the pocket clip doesn't move. All that stuff. That's my bad deployment. I really don't mess up on the deployment that much. I'm just trying to keep it in frame. So, it's not a bad deployment. So this is a really amazing knife. I would definitely recommend it for the money. Now, I did originally have a slight problem with this knife. I bought it, you know, everything was good. The only thing I noticed is that whenever this knife was closed, it would rattle. Of course, it's not doing it now. It would rattle a little bit. This blade would hit the sides. Now, I was thinking it might be something to do with the center pin and just the pivot screw, and it wasn't tight enough or something, or it just loosened. Maybe it was bumped weird in packaging. And here, real quick, speaking of packaging, here's packaging. And real access, lock sticker, and the little bag it comes in, drawstring. But I thought it might be loose in the packaging or something weird. So I called their customer service. It was really great. I got to talk to them. They're like, yep, it's just the pivot screw. I'm like, okay. So I tightened it up, and they said, call me back if you have any problems. It works like a charm now. Now, I've heard that it's not a good idea. Of course, this is my first Benchmade. I've heard that it's not a good idea to tighten or you can. A lot of people won't tighten the pivot screws on their Benchmades, just because it'll normally break in. Access locks might take a little time to break in and stuff. But it's still really smooth, absolutely no rattling. It was just a little too loose. No problem. I don't think Benchmade's a problem with that. And they told me how to fix it right away. They were offering I could send it back, they'd fix it, all that stuff, because they have an incredible warranty. Just basically, if you break it or hurt it, pretty much at all, if you're using it how it's intended to do. I mean, if you're like prying a door open with it, they might not fix it. But pretty much everything else, you can just send it back to them, and they'll fix it. That's really great. So the Benchmade 940-2 Osborne, just an incredible knife. I would definitely recommend getting it. I'm starting to get into more higher end knives and stuff, less, you know, $50, $100 knives, more into this kind of range. Although, of course, $100 knives aren't cheap either. Now, for some of you guys, you might just say, okay, that's your most expensive knife? Come on. I own custom Chris Reeves, tie lock, something like that. Crazy stuff like this. I own customized Strider, all that stuff, and you guys are just rocking $1,000 knives, stuff like that. For me, it's my most expensive knife. Now, other yous might say, okay, this is an expensive knife for me. This $30 Kershaw knife is really expensive for me. And I can see that. If a lot of people will use knives like that, or even just like Tenacious's. These are great knives, absolutely great knives. I'll get into all the prices and stuff, and how you can justify spending money like this in another video. I'm also hoping to do a comparison between the access lock and the piston lock. I think that should be really cool. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and check out my other videos. This is the Benchmade 940-2 Osborne, and I'll see you guys next time.